Live. The red light's on. Mike and
I
I are
feel
kind
alive.
Would you feel alive?
I do. I do. It's Thursday. It's finally a week that's going by more quickly than the glacial pace of weeks past.
Oh, is that why you decided to wear the same color shirt as me?
No, you decided to wear the same color shirt as me. I was here first.
I don't know, man. I know you're older, but that doesn't necessarily. I guess you were like, in the grand scheme of things here first, but you are kind of old.
At least I don't have to worry about how my hair looks.
Yeah, I bet you're so proud of that.
Yeah.
And you're still in the basement.
I am, yeah. And, honestly, I wish this platform would let me use virtual backgrounds like the others. I should talk to the marketing guy about that.
Yeah, I wonder who the marketing guy is. Oh, wait,
in
that's
fact,
me.
I think marketing should deck me out with a home studio. Are you budgeting for next year right now, Jake?
Oh, I am budgeting for next year. Oh, very much. But I am not budgeting that for you, especially after what you did to me this week. I got to tell everybody what you did.
Oh.
So here we are. I don't know if everybody knows what ASIS is, but it's basically a group of Mike's friends, right? These are it is.
These are the Association of County and City Information Systems.
Right, Mike's friends. So Mike does a happy hour, and he has folks on it, and yeah, they all know Mike, and Mike's like, hey, I have this great marketing idea. How about temporary tattoos for everybody? And I fall into the trap. I fell into Mike's trap. I said, you know what? I don't care what Mike thinks, but if everybody else wants a temporary tattoo, and they all said, yeah, surprising the heck out of me. And so now
best idea ever.
No, it is not.
It's right up there with taking a whole bunch of our Kraken t-shirts and dropping thousands of them off at Goodwill to populate the entire country with people wearing our t-shirt. It's a great idea, Jake. I should be in marketing.
So just a reminder that there's a comment section over to the right. You should let me know if you agree with Mike or agree with me. If you happen to want one of these tattoos, it turned out it was actually cheaper to order 1,000 than to order like 200 or 500 because the world's just a weird place. But I'm not going to tell Mike who gets them because that is marketing information confidentiality classification. Per your policy, I can keep things from you.
I see what you did there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right. So now talk to your friends in local government. This Tyler Tech thing. This has gotten a little worse.
Well, I'm connecting a few dots on this thing. So for the update for my friends in local government, they put out a communication regarding how some of the hosted services have come back online. So Tyler Deploy, Managed Internet Update. Their client SharePoint site. And what that tells me is that one of the first things the forensics team looked at are the update and patching mechanisms and found them to be okay, clean, whatever. It also says they're going through their applications one at a time, looking for fingerprints of malfeasance, which is exactly what they ought to be doing right now. I'd pay attention to these updates, because to me, they indicate the process that they're going through internally and how they prioritize the order of evaluation. The other thing is they did pay the ransom. And when that news came out, that was in Bleeping Computer, when that news came out, my mind went right to Blackbaud. Because right now, in my opinion, Tyler is basically in the same boat as Blackbaud, which you will remember is a service provider to a great number of health and charitable and philanthropic organizations. They got locked up, just like Tyler. The perps demonstrated they had data on their customers. They extracted the ransom, and they promised they wouldn't do anything with what they stole. And they believed them. But there's no way to prove that. So all of their customers, notably the ones in the health sector, have had to do HIPAA-compliant breach reports. And those breach reports are now the #1 contributor to recent health sector breach reports over the last quarter. And every one of those has a cost. So now there's a class action suit. They're suing Blackbaud to recover costs. So hello, Tyler Technologies. So honestly, I'm not sure where this is going because the plaintiffs have to show harm to have standing, but we ought to track this because, you know, like I keep saying, I think there's other shoes to drop. And, you know, if that happens, everybody's going to go back to Tyler and, you know, they're going to want their pound of flesh. And so last thing about Tyler, look at the economics here. So snarling Tyler means crippling a lot of other organizations collaterally. That is 100% absolutely something that these actors fought through because of the impact to not only Tyler, but because of that collateral damage and the need to get back up as soon as possible. The ransom demand was probably astronomical. Now, I don't know if we're going to find out, but that's my guess. I will remind you that the Tyler earnings call is November 2nd, and there could be some interesting information disclosed there. Also, one more thing. New York Times reports an uptick in counties getting cybered. So, you know, that's correlation and not causality at this point, but I'm watching counties real hard.
I just want to point out that Mike rails against the word cyber all the time, and he just said that people are getting cybered. I think
I pervert the word to satisfy myself.
I think you've fallen into the marketing trap of saying the words that I give you. Hey, one of the things about the Blackbaud and that is, you know, our friend Drexta Ford, who joined us a few weeks ago, did a report on the reported healthcare breaches this year, and obviously with UHS and with Blackbaud, that's taken a big that's done a big uptick. I'm going to put in the comments here if anyone wants to take a look at the healthcare data report. And we're going to be doing a webinar actually with our friends over at Medigate pretty soon to talk about an update on that report. So anyway, that's in the comments over there. But Mike, it's time to talk about something besides Tyler Technologies. What do you got?
Okay, so this may or may not have something to do with the recent incident affecting Washington state government. In the blast last week, article about Cybercom participating in getting the TrickBot botnet to null point to a local host address. When it tries to look up something it wants to go talk to, it returns 127.0.0.1, looks at itself, nothing works, right? This week, Microsoft announces that they've done their domain grab trick right through the courts and taken down much, but not all, of that botnet. So a couple of things here. Number one, you know, indicators were released from Washington State, which were all about the TrickBot botnet and the Emotet ransomware. Seems similar, but I think more importantly, it looks like Cybercom likely initiated an action and enlisted support from the private sector, which went through the courts and did something that they've done before on their own. But it looks like the military initiated it this time, and there may have been even an agreement for the military to go public first with this, because that's the order of things that came out in the news. I may be wrong, but just thinking through what's going on behind this. So again, I don't know if this got something to do with the incident in Washington State. The indicators look suspiciously similar. I know that Microsoft was in there finding new things, and then they reported that out as indicators to all of us, and TrickBot and Emotet, and then TrickBot goes down. Could be a correlation there. I'll say too, we, CI Security, provide SOC services to Microsoft Defender ATP customers. And that right now is the best thing for mitigating what we've seen going on with Washington. In fact, without disclosing too much, I'll say that's exactly the solution that the state has put in place and that the counties in Washington state are doing as well. So this is a strategic alignment. And if you use Defender ATP, you know, get some use out of it, because it is very good for this particular problem.
It is, and I'm glad you said that we integrate with that. In fact, Mike, it looks like you did marketing. Ooh, nice job, Mike. All right.
I let my guard down.
It's because you're wearing the same color shirt as me. So today you're marketing, Mike. It's funny, everybody. Just yesterday, I sent Mike a note that indicated that he worked for marketing, and he didn't say no. I think I'm sure he saw it, but he probably just rolled his eyes. But at this point, I just think Mike works for me. So
I'm
Mike,
the founder, man. I report to everyone. I just get tapped on the shoulder. You name it, I got to do it.
Fair enough. Hey, I know that folks sign up for the blast all the time. I'll put the link in the comments here if people want to get your emails every day with all the news that you find every day. It is incredibly impressive that you've been doing it for a dozen years. It goes all over the place, including international. How about some international news?
Okay. Sadly, my pals in South Africa, Germany, UK, and Ghana, as well as some other places, are not likely to be awake right now. However, let's see. Interesting one, the G7 has become concerned about how cryptocurrency is facilitating crime like ransom payments. That's good because we need to get to a point where we can identify and prosecute these bastards. But bad because this may set back the legitimate use of cryptocurrency, like in weed stores in enlightened states in the United States. And I'm choosing my words very carefully there, Jake.
I appreciate your sensibilities.
Yes.
I'm not saying I agree with your sensibilities, but I appreciate them.
Okay.
Maybe you should have come. Maybe you should have come with a green shirt today. All right.
No, because then you would have projected something on it later, and I would have been all over the place with some design on my shirt that I never intended. I know not to wear green with you.
I also know, since you talked about projected, that you have no idea how chroma key technology works. We'll go over that a different time. You got anything else?
Well, not so much international, but just I have to send a note to DHS. Okay, Christopher Krebs is quoted over and over this week saying election security is the best it's ever been, and there's hardly any chance of getting cybered, etc. Dude, you're in government, and that is horrible expectation management. I mean, think about it. Anything that might happen now is what you're going to be wearing later. They're going to use that phrase as a stick to beat you with. And, think about the analogy. Remember when Oracle came out? I don't know if you remember this, Jake. Oracle came out with their security slogan, "Unbreakable." You remember that? That lasted about 48 hours. Okay, don't be Oracle, DHS.
Yeah, don't do. Are you saying don't do marketing you can't live up to? Look, it's marketing Mike again. Hey, so I have to say my favorite news of the blast this week was this article from GCN about why employees ignore cyber policies. Mm-hmm. I know you harp on our cyber policies all the time, but this one is like why employees ignore them willfully.
Harp.
You do harp with a big.
Okay.
Anyway,
no, harp. I harp on one thing. All right. So this was actually a pretty interesting article. I did read this one. Binghamton University somewhere, I think is what it was. Did a study.
New York, yeah.
Yeah. And I was thinking that was in the UK. Found that if you have security policies that are applicable organization-wide, they don't account for the realities of different employees' priorities and the things that they have to do, their daily responsibilities. And so they will circumvent these things. And the really good example used was of a doctor in an emergency situation is not going to lock his or her computer when they walk away because the priority is the patient and not security. So I think they're spot on with this. And yes, policies need to be tailored to working conditions and roles in an organization. Yes, they do, right? Organization-wide policy, maybe a little too broad. However, the one that I'm always harping on is use a personal device for personal use. Don't mix that stuff up. That is applicable organization-wide.
Yep, for sure. Hey, it's 8:44, man. We've been going for a long time. Our budget is not. We cannot go for an hour. You just talk and talk and talk.
You have to buy me a studio, huh?
Oh, maybe I'll just give you a temporary tattoo instead. Hey,
I have a real one.
last week we talked about a kicker. For people who missed it, a kicker is what
Oh,
comes
yeah.
at the end of the news broadcast or Mike's blast, and it's a story to leave you with a smile on your face. Mike, last week it was chastity belts. This week it's what?
The ping of death has returned. The ping of death. I can't remember what Microsoft is, what they're calling this, the bad neighbor vulnerability or something like that, or nasty neighbor. I can't remember what it's called. But so if you're OG like me, you remember there's this ping of death from long ago. And what it was an oversized, fragmented ping packet that caused a crash and sometimes could lead to malware injection. So as a zombie risen for Halloween, it's been resurrected for IPv6. So Cyber Command is out there warning about this problem, causing the exact same outcome as the famous ping of death. So it's ICMP v6 router advertisement packets to a target Windows computer, crashola. It's 2020 and a ping packet blue screens you.
No, you say ping. I was thinking of the original video game Pong, but yeah. You know, man, I don't know that. I liked last week's. The chastity belt kicker was better. I think I need to teach you. I need to teach you more. Yeah.
It just shows. It goes to show how fragile this house of cards that it built is, that we depend on so much, and how it can all be easily taken down at scale by an increasingly large taxonomy of actors. Have a nice week, Jake.
Yeah. Do you like everybody how I said, hey, this story will leave a smile on your face, and Mike is all that. All right. So seriously, if people want a temporary tattoo, send me a LinkedIn note. Don't send Mike a LinkedIn note. I am not giving him any of the temporary tattoos. I will send them out to
real
people.
One.
I know. I've heard you don't. Yeah, you don't get any of these to give out. But LinkedIn me if you want one. Put it in the comments. Do something. Just tag me so I see it. And have a good week, everybody. All Mike, next week, different color shirt.
Okay, not green. Bye-bye.